My name is Kiddabsolute. I'm a streamer, small tier. I'd say more so Z-list. Mount Rushmore is something that has been a very talked about thing in our community. Not just my community, but it just seems to be on YouTube, Twitch alike. Before we foundationalize what is Mount Rushmore, let's go ahead and explain what the Mount Rushmore is for the folks in the back, right? We have a lot of, I ain't gonna lie to you, I can't name everybody. Okay, wait a second. We got Tom Jefferson, we have Roosevelt, Abe, and we have Jefferson. All people that helped make America what America is today. No, take that good, take that bad, doesn't matter. They did their due diligence. Mount Rushmore people are people who have helped make country what it is. But in this space, we're talking about streaming. Who are the people that have made streaming what they are? And I think to preface this, it is very important to say these guys that you see on the Mount Rushmore, right? They are essentially the biggest in their field. And I think that is very important to understand. Some of these people on this list have stolen inventions from slaves. Since they've stolen inventions from slaves, they were the ones that popularized already made invention. They popularized it, but they didn't make it. We are focusing on who popularized it instead of who made it, because essentially in history, that's what matters. I just thought earlier, if God gave you an idea and you weren't doing it right, and you decided to disobey and whatever the sort was, and you gave up and God gave that idea to somebody else, both of y'all will have two completely different ways of going about that idea, because y'all are both two different people, but one of y'all will get the results that God asked for instead of the other person because one chose not to. The reason why I say that is it's not about who made it. It's about who popularized it being where it is. The Mount Rushmore could be something, but if we had a president or whatever that came 30 years ago and was able to make America to a whole different stratosphere, it'd be irrelevant. It would be irrelevant. That people wouldn't really care as much about them in comparison to the man who turned the country into a utopia. You understand what I'm saying? It's about who popularized it, not the one who necessarily created it. Disagree? Argue with your mom. Let's go ahead, create the Mount Rushmore. So no decent idea is bad. It's just how you advertise it. 1000% agree. And I'm glad that you say that, mediocre, because prime example is there was a girl a couple years ago called Bella Delphine, which was she was all over the internet for all sorts of crazy reasons, right? She was actually the lady who sold bathwater. Bathwater we're talking about. The idea in and of itself is that is a horrible idea. Who was buying bathwater? But at the same time though, the way that she marketed her advertising of it was perfect. Guys, you could have a mediocre product and have S-tier marketing and advertising and it'll go somewhere. It'd be even better if you had an S-tier product and S-tier advertisement. That's even better. If you have a S-tier product and D-tier advertising, it's trash. It's not going nowhere. Do you get what I'm saying? Advertising is probably the most marketing and advertising is the most important thing that you could ever do when it comes to building anything. Let's keep going. First person on this Mount Rushmore. Let's make it like this. I think the first person realistically to give this spot to the lesser ones that people would assume to be on this list. Let's just make it very easy. We're going to say XQC. Yep. On this Mount Rushmore, we have to give it for what it is. XQC deserves a spot. The main reason why is that when you think of the poggers community, Ludwig, you gotta hear me out. You gotta hear me out. I say XQC because of what he has done, right? What he has become essentially. You see what I'm saying? XQC kind of embodies what it is to be a streamer. XQC is when you think of what a streamer really is, minus all the gimmicks, minus all of everything. What a streamer really is a person who sits at the computer and plays the game and talks to chat. He was the one that has been really doing it for a long time. And I would essentially say puts on for the poggers community. When you think of what a poggers community person is, it's XQC. From how his chat is, to how he interacts with his chat, to what he does on stream, XQC is undoubtedly somebody who deserves to be in there. You see what I'm saying? Ludwig, the reason why should I say who is on the list and who isn't? I'm gonna just keep it pushing. But I think XQC is a very valid contender. I feel like that's very fair. Is that crazy to say? I don't think no one could really realistically argue what XQC is for streaming. He's been streaming for dang near 10 plus years and is still at the top of his game, right? Doing the same thing that he's been doing for like so long. I gotta give respects to it. Next person, right? We all know him. All right, let's okay. And this person, Ninja. I give Ninja the second place for multiple reasons. Ninja, without a shadow of a doubt, is the reason why a lot of, I would like to essentially say, real people are on streaming or on Twitch. And to explain what that means is, streaming as a whole, we used to be more of a nerd dominated idea, as in a lot of people who were nerds, people who enjoyed computers, that was necessarily their space. With the popularization of Fortnite, Ninja has been able to bring on real people, being a whole different side of what Twitch is, allowing people from the real world to have an understanding of what the live streaming space is. For the people who may have not been around for the Ninja era, that's completely understandable. But from having Drake on live, having Travis Scott all playing Fortnite in the same lobby, we have to understand what kind of person this is. He was the real one that was really setting it big and the first really streamer celebrity. Let's keep pushing, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and explain why I have all what I have, right? Next on this list, we have Pokimane. With all the stuff that she has been through, with all these things that people like, we gotta give it up. We gotta keep it a buck to her, bro. For her to be in the situation that she has been, like, I remember Pokimane from the Fortnite days. I don't necessarily tap in with her kind of content, but I would like to comfortably say she puts on for the girls. She puts on for the girls. And realistically, maybe give it like 5 to 10 more years and I would 1,000%, maybe like if I were to do a new gen version, I would put Senna. Like, I see it from this perspective. I think regular girls, right? The regular girls you may see in your classroom, the regular girls that you would see at like a Walmart, Walgreens, Target, a regular woman. A lot of the girls that were on Twitch are more so like the e-girl type. So I'm saying there are a lot of girls that fall into that I'm gonna say hyper nerdy culture. You see what I'm saying? Pokimane gives a glimpse of what a regular girl could enjoy. You see what I'm saying? And to me, it was kind of debatable between Pokimane or Valkyrae, but it's just like, if you're gonna name one girl streamer, I feel like most people are gonna say Poki's name before they say Valkyrie. So I'm saying, not to disrespect from either of them, because both of them 1,000% were tag teaming the #1 placement for putting on for the girls. I definitely got to give it a Pokimane. Real, authentic. You know, she may have been through ups and downs, but I would proudly say she definitely puts on for the girls, especially in a non-sexual way. You know, like a girl who's not doing all that wild stuff, just a regular girl that plays the game. W's. And last but not least, the last person I have is Speed. Speed is the final one that will go on this Mount Rushmore. Look at Speed. Look at Speed. Speed has essentially encapsulated what I love most about streaming. From Kai to Aiden and Speed, since they were all around the same area. Maybe one day you'll replace one of them. Tall. This is what I like to see. But probably not though. See, now I like where you were going at first. Then you started putting that BS in there. I should have just banned you off the jump. I'm gonna get up there. Because essentially I know what it takes to be there. All of these people in and of themselves are revolutionaries to the aspect of streaming. They changed the game of streaming overall. Speed, he encapsulates the idea of anticipation. What Speed does from traveling from country to country, he has encapsulated realistically what it takes to be someone that is a game changer in the streaming space. Now I'm playing, but realistically, you'd be the one to change the game if anyone does. I like that. Back to Speed, the way he's just able to interact with his audiences. And I've learned something, like almost studying Speed. Speed has layers of humor, right? Not just what he says, but him doing the crazy facial expressions brings me back to a simple mindset of Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry is a silent cartoon, but you still laugh. From the facial expressions to what they do, his crazy acts, right? To the wild faces he makes, to the wild jokes he may make, and interactions he makes, all are different levels of humor that can be widely accepted by any demographic of people. You don't have to understand Speed, but when you see him make a, oh my gosh, wild face, it's laughable. Your grandma can laugh. See what I'm saying? It changes the focus from gameplay to the person themselves. That as well. Speed in and of himself is the gameplay. You know what I mean? From the unpredictability to just the wildness, the wild nature of who the I Show Speed character is, right? And for him to have been brought to where he is, like, I ain't gonna lie to you, like, I'm the kind of guy to anticipate those kind of streams. And I love the idea of anticipation. And for me, Speed has been holding that lately. With him traveling to all these different countries, I'm like anticipating. I'm sitting there editing and watching the live. The anticipation of what will happen in these streams, from China to South America, right? To Europe, to Australia. The ideas of not knowing what's happening and how they do their production and everything, bro, we got to give our props to them. And this, honestly, realistically, is a good Mount Rushmore. Honorable mentions, of course, right? Honorable mentions, of course. We always got Aiden. You know what I mean? Regardless of what you say about him, who hates him, who doesn't hate him. I would like to honestly say, let me go black. We could say features. We could say Aiden. Aiden was the one who was really being able to bring rappers on stream, which kind of helped birth the Kais and Speeds. But at the same time, though, we're looking at the people who revolutionized the entire game on a worldwide perspective. You see what I'm saying? Not to say Aiden didn't do that, because we got to give him his flowers, right? But I just feel like, respectfully, Speed takes the cake. Next person that I'd put on this list, Kai. Realistically, Kai or Speed was a if and or but being international, right? At such a, like, Speed could go to any country and get an entire mob with him. Any country. That level of insanity and reach, that's leagues ahead. You're leagues ahead. Next person I would put on there, I say Queso. And it's, you said there's, why I put Queso? Queso has realistically, like, it's like he survived the Kai-sanatification and the beastification of where YouTube and Twitch were going. Not in like what Mr. Beast and Kai is doing is bad, but it's that they have set the barrier to entry so high that who are you to even compete? You see what I'm saying? Guys, I'm sitting here making a Mount Rushmore tier list, hopefully to put this on YouTube or get some good clips so that this could go somewhere. The chances of this actually doing something or changing my life in a numbers perspective is extremely slim, but I still try anyway. You see what I'm saying? And that brings the same thing for Queso. Queso is actually one of the main reasons, kind of sometimes, why I still go, why I still try to keep going. Because I remember when Queso was only averaging like 4,000 viewers before he became the mega successful who he is. From being able to just bring back the old version of what YouTube is and what streaming is, and bringing that back to a modern day audience. Because no matter how far you go from home, you'll always want to come home. Let that sink in your head. No matter how far you go from home, you will always want to come back home. And essentially, Queso is home. Queso is what streaming is. Sitting at the desktop, talking to your viewers, and playing the game. Respectful. This is a respectful list. Oh, another person that I could put on this list as well. Blackboy Max. Blackboy Max, 100%. Some of y'all may not know who that is. I'm very familiar with Max. You know what I'm saying? Saw the journey from 2022. The idea is that him being able to integrate music in such a way of where he is now, it's a way that could literally change the entire direction of how music is treated. First, people were trying to go through Kai Cenat to get the music promo. So I'm saying, which they still do. But at the same time, it's like what Max is doing with music and is in the boost, that really changed the entire perspective of what music is. You know what I mean? Where music can go and how a streamer can become serious. W-list. I think this is the best way to really see it. Queso feels like a YouTuber you can watch on a Tuesday afternoon after PE day. Exactly. Reminiscing of old days, old YouTube. I think that's the best quality about him, bro. It might be Kiddabsolute. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what it takes to be these. I know what it takes to be these. Right? You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man. Don't enjoy the video. So, got you. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.